How y'all doing? For many of you who turn into my channel for the paleontology content, some of you may have noticed I've been kind of lacking in bringing in new stuff for a long while, for about a year or so. Kind of want to make up for that, and by introducing a tabletop role-playing game that you might be interested in. There's no dinosaurs in it. This actually takes place in the Cenozoic, and it is this: is Würm, role-playing in the Ice Age, and it's just that. The Würm, the title is a reference to a river, I think, in Central Europe. I don't know if it's in France or Switzerland, but it does explain in this. I just forget offhand. But as I say, it is just that: is you role playing in Ice Age Europe in the Pleistocene era, particularly around 35,000 to 25,000 years ago. Now, you play a group of people who have a tribe or a clan, and you're trying to survive in this world. Now, this one tries to play as much research as it can to what they had back then, their artwork styles and what have you. It does explain whatever details it can, but they also admit up front there's a lot we don't know about the people who live in that time so it does fill in their own blanks. So when you understand that, you shouldn't take you out of the concept behind this if you're a stickler for such details. And the good news is that to add future flavor to this, you can look over research papers and see what new information is brought out, and maybe add more flavor to any future games you may play with this. Almost digressing here. So what it is, you play within the Ice Age. You play a tribe trying to survive by going out, finding resources, going on, certain quests. It does provide that, and you play as one or two types of humans. You play Homo sapiens, which so of course that's us. There's also Homo neanderthalis, which is called the bear man in this. They both have their pros and cons. So you choose what type of early human you play. Probably best to stick to Homo sapiens because that's what you're most familiar with, of course, because they're us. But you want to play something different, you could play the bear man or Neanderthals. This is at the point where they're kind of coexisting side by side. So there's a lot of interactions you could do with that, some good conflicts or alliances, what have you. The character sheet is incredibly simple. Let's see if I can quickly find that. It's usually always in the back of the book. It's just this one simple page. That's all it is. It's not complicated. So if you're interested in long, complex character creation, all that, I'm afraid you don't. Not in the stat wise. You're gonna have to put it in your character, and it is you have to get into the role of this. And this is one of those role playing games where cooperation among your team, while it's always common in role playing games to cooperate with your team, this is vital because it's the only way for your people to survive the next day. So, ultra important. When you make your character, you gotta choose your strengths and talents. Your strengths, you have a whole list of strengths to choose from. One strength is something that's shared by everyone. Everyone has this one strength. And it's usually described as part of a totem. And again, this is one of those things we don't have full details about the spirituality beliefs of these people, so this is where to kind of add it in. So just to kind of go with it. But you choose a strength that everyone has, but then your particular character has two more, specific to him. And what this does is that it gives them special bonuses during certain situations. Let me read off a few here, like knowledge of the Beaver. The Beaver grants the character an infallible instinct to translate into 1d6 bonus for any action involving building of shelters, huts, traps, and also all kinds of floating transportations. You can also have Might of the Bison, Song of the Blackbird. Reflexes of the Lynx. Spirit of the Lynx grants the character superhuman reflexes that will keep him out of harm's way most of the time, especially during combat. The character gains a 1d6 bonus of all his intuitive tests and gains a 3+ bonus to his dodge scores. So you get the idea. So your character chooses 3, 1 shared by all the tribe, everyone has that one, but 2 specifically to your character. Now, and as far as the die rolls, the game plays with mostly 1d6. Most cases when you perform an action, you roll a 2d6 to perform it. The game master sets the level. You try and beat that with a 2d6, but depending on your strengths or weaknesses, it gives you more dice or minus dice to give you a higher chance or lower chance of saving that. So it's very simple. As I say, it uses a d6, but occasionally you may need a d10, so make sure you have both ready. I'm going through a list of highlights here to see this. Now, experience points. Now, normally in these role-playing games, experience points are numbers that you accumulate to increase your character level up, to the next level. Well, this has a different meaning in this game. Experience is you gain like one. Let's see. Start off with 3. You gain more over time, usually 1 to 3 points per game session or something like that. They're not meant to increase your level to increase your character. You spend them to gain extra dice in situation. The idea is that a person who's out hunting for a while is trying to attack this particular animal. Maybe it's a bison. A person who's been out there a while has experience, which he spends to gain him an advantage over that. So that's kind of how it works. What you would traditionally think of level gaining in role-playing games is done by prestige. Your actions among the tribe gave you special prestiges, which could be your bravery, generosity, or wisdom. And depending on and accumulating those points through those traits, you will gain access to you may have a wife, you can have a special equipment that's specific towards you, that sort of thing. It gives a list of you become a tribal leader over time. So that's the closest thing to level gaining in this game, is gaining prestige among your tribe or clan. Let's see. Now, your life is measured in stamina, life points, stamina. You have to deal with that. And another interesting thing about this game is that you could play as a child. Normally you could begin a starting game for already as an adult, already initiated as a member of the tribe who has the responsibilities, what have you. But if you want to introduce a very simple role-playing game to your kids, like 10 years old, or maybe 8 or 10, and you want to try this, you don't want anything complicated like Dungeons and Dragons, this is a good game for it, especially if they're interested in prehistory or Pleistocene and all that. There are rules and even a scenario to help kids to role-play and what adventures they could have. And if you're clever enough, you can come with some. And the idea is they can play their character to the point where they reach the age to be initiative. And that's the end of that. They can play the character as normal, like adults would play their characters. So I think it's a neat idea behind that. Now, let's see. There are also, your character, not just the fact that you think about typical role-playing games like Dungeons & Dragons or Pathfinder, you play a thief, you play a fighter. Here, while everyone kind of has to, learn skills to help them hunt, fight other tribes and all that, they also learn skills like skin craft, stone craft, wood craft, things that help build their tribe society to make them shelters, food, tools, what have you. Now here's, despite what I said earlier, that this is try to base as close as possible to the historical and scientific knowledge that it's based off of, there is some supernatural elements. But don't let that, if you're a stickler for hard reality, don't let that, deter you. Because there's an option again, to go around that. There is things like magic and mystical creatures in this. You have a magic system that comes in shamanism and enchantments and sorceries, and but it's not like the traditional throw a fireball or anything. It's rituals or gathering special herbs and potions, and and try and perform these actions to help the tribe about it. And it has its own experience system. It has its own prestige for those who have that ability. And as I said, there's also animals that are real animals. Like let me see if I can find that section. Many of your encounters that are not human are the actual traditional, well, not traditional, historical and paleontological animals we do find. Let's see. Like you do find auroch, which is the ancient bull, which we've domesticated that to our cows today. Your Arctic fox. You got your mammoths. You have the cave hyenas, gray, cave lions and stuff like that. No saber-toothed tigers. Those aren't that part of the world, and and any saber-tooths have been long extinct. But I'll get to that shortly. The ancient bison, which are larger today, red wolves. So yeah, that may seem boring to you, but there also is supernatural creatures you could throw in as well. There's ice lions, fire spirits. There's occasional ghost. There's The unicorn, I think, is the one that intrigued me most because it's not what you think of a unicorn, which is a horse with a horn in it. No, this one, let's see. This very rare creature has a strange body, a cross between a horse and a snow leopard, especially in the coat, which is spotted like a leopard's. There is a long, straight horn on its forehead that looks like a narwhal. You know. Now, here's the thing. If you think that's going too far, introducing these mystical creatures there, just cut them out. There's rules at the back of this. After you read through the sorcery and the mystical creatures section, they'll tell you how you can play these games without that, where you just do away with the mystical creatures entirely, just stick with the real ones and the humans and that you've based in this world, like in real life. As far as the sorcery and magic goes, you could still have that, but it's more like psychological or early medicine where the stuff can work, but they think it's mystical. In truth, it's just trial and error with herbs and roots or what have you. So you can, again, whatever supernatural content it has, that you read it through as if they exist, but just follow the rules if you don't like that, to knock it down to a more grounded, reality-based role-playing experience. So, and there's also 3 adventures already made in the core book itself, and you can but there's as far as I know, 3 booklets. This doesn't have too much supplements to go with this. You have your Game Master screen you can buy. The only adventure book I got in addition to this is Voice of the Ancestors, special adventure booklet, Black Macarius. Now, as I say, there's no saber-toothed tigers, this is a relative cat that has saber teeth, Macarius. Here's the thing: this species is an actual species, but it died out a long time ago. Let's see, this species of cat died 200,000 years before it invented the game you play. So this is one of those examples where, even though it may deter you to add supernatural elements in it, this one you read it through can add certain appeal playing with the supernatural elements. The basis of this adventure is your characters go out searching for flint, and as they did, they find this unusual skull in there, and by taking the skull, they realize that they're stronger in many ways. They got these additional bonuses in strength. The drawback is that things have been kind of looking down among their tribe. It curses the people who take the skull back, and they have to investigate what is happening and how can they get rid of this curse. And as you read it through, it's like, okay, I can see why adding these supernatural elements into it can make for an intriguing game, despite the more reality-based background that this game takes place in. But again, if you were clever enough, you could modify against that, or just don't do it entirely. There's one adventure book that deals with cannibalism, and what do you do in situations like that? Now, this is not one of those role-playing games where you think of playing a caveman. You probably think of the Unga Bunga, Ikita. Like, you probably watch 1 million years BC with Raquel Welch, where all guys are, everyone's in furry loincloths, are all facing dinosaurs. They speak the same garbly where they say Akita all the time. And this one I think is for those who are more serious-minded to play the game. That's more reality-based. Again, if you want something simple, but if you just like the idea of playing the Ice Age, trying to survive, trying to, overcome conflicts of that. The overall, so far, as far as I know, there's not much to go with this. The core book is relatively short, so it's very fast and simple to get into. But how much depth of it is how creative you are. It may seem to those who are not very creative and take what's usually given, or trying to think something outside of what they're traditionally thought of as tabletop role-playing games, by high-end magic, secret traps, and all that, you may find this kind of lacking. But I don't know. I think I like the idea behind this. If I had the right group, I wouldn't mind playing with this and try and work it out. Because one, I'm kind of a paleo buff, while not particularly the Pleistocene. I think for those who are interested in early man, trying to see how it would take to strive in a world of that's somewhat familiar, but because of the lack of the large amounts of civilization we have, it's kind of this endless possible danger outside of your own safety zones that you develop for yourself. And again, that's why I think certain, why the idea of people want to play this or read about it would find this interesting. So if you're interested in books like The Clan of the Cave Bear, or movies like Quest for Fire, or definitely not 10,000 years, no, 100,000 years BC, Roland Emmerich film, that was kind of came and went. Definitely not that. But if you want a more serious-minded prehistory of early man, before they really developed any civilization, this is probably a good role-playing game for you. So there is Würm, role-playing in the Ice Age there. You can see the introduction to type of artwork it has is pretty much consistent, and it does get into the theme about this. And one more thing, I'll link this down below. There is a YouTube channel that has ambient music called Paleowolf. It is perfect background music to set the mood for this type of game. I'll try and link it down below there. Check it out. The videos could be, the music could be like an hour long or so. But it's pretty much ideal. I don't think it was intentional. I meant to go with this, but I found it by chance, and I think it works. So check it out. So Würm, Role Playing in Ice Age by Nocturnal Media. Check this out. If you want to try something different and you like the theme about this of role playing in the Ice Age, give it a go. Very simple, and I think for something that wants a change of pace, this might do it. Thank you all for watching. You have a nice day.